7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. People of this particular world, hello and welcome to Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode 199. Yes, you heard that right. Coming up on episode 200 tomorrow on Friday. Our guest today is everything you could possibly want in a guest. He is Brad Hess, handyman, business owner extraordinaire, mountain biker, genuinely cool dude, good friend of mine. We've known each other through a BNI chapter now for at least over a year or two. Brad recently took an incredible excursion. One could even describe it as a spiritual adventure where he found himself. He's officially enlightened. I don't know if you knew that. But recently, Mr. Hess, in addition to owning Ace Handyman Services, has been a guest on Kai Ryssdal's nationally syndicated show on NPR, which is a big, big deal, as I'm sure you are aware. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our guest today, the one, the only, the incredible Brad Hess.
Hello, people of the world.
Oh, man. He's coming in hot. Coming in hot with that Brad Hess energy.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you, too. So, business during the pandemic has been rough for a lot of people. We're going to go back in time. We're going to get your life story. We're going to do all that. But before we do, tell us a little bit about your business and a little bit about just this last 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Quick overview of who we are is a handyman service, a professional handyman service with a group of craftsmen and craftswomen can tackle projects around the house, large and small. And we aim to bring that professionalism to the industry with a strong team and great accountability. We opened in July of 2019, which means that by 12 months ago, we were growing and really hitting our stride and things were going great. But then when the lockdown happened, our business volume dropped by about 75%, which means I had to lay off 4 of those 6 employees. And we really struggled to keep, I struggled to keep even just the 2 craftsmen that were remaining busy. But by the summertime, things picked back up. We got a PPP loan, which really helped to drag us out of the weeds. And, forward through last summer and fall to now, we're up to 10 employees and could potentially grow even more, which is fantastic. And I love to be in that mode. But it's gotten to the point where we're here now. I'm on cruise control. I've decided to focus on the efficiency of our business and running a tight ship at the current size before we go on to the next stage and grow even more.
Mm-hmm. So the mental fortitude that it takes to drive through dark moments like that is the quintessential entrepreneur skill, according to this dude. I was talking to James Kerr the other day, a guest on the show, and he said, "I'm like a cockroach. You can't kill me." That's his whole thing. And obviously, a cockroach is not the sexiest of animals or insects. Are insects animals, Brad?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a definitive source on this information.
Okay, so they're not a plant. Got it. So, it's easy to be like, I'm like a tiger, that sort of thing. Everyone wants to be that sort of thing. But anyway, you got to be resilient. So let's get to the bottom of said resilience. From whence did said resilience come? So where were you born, Brad Hess?
I was born in San Jose, California.
So were you rich?
I like to joke about my name, Brad, is that it was state issued because I'm such a stereotypical California boy. I grew up, skiing, mountain biking, chasing girls, driving fast cars, rich in California. Like my parents had no choice but to name me Brad.
Yeah, there's actually I forget which president did an executive order, but it was something to that effect. Someone that checks those boxes, they must be named Brad.
Or Chad. I appreciate the Brad. So.
Okay. I knew some Chads in North Dakota, though. So that extended far beyond where it should have. There should be like a line. So I think Brad was the appropriate choice. So San Jose, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, what percentage of the population can live in San Jose. I mean, you need to be doing quite well to pull that off, don't you?
It was a different story when I was growing up. I mean, San Jose, it's Silicon Valley through and through now, and the cost of living is really outrageous now. But it was a pretty normal city, I think, when I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s. But my father was part of the original Silicon Valley boom, which is where the success in our family came from, and I learned a whole hell of a lot from him growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Mandan, North Dakota, which is the opposite of San Jose. And just the climate and everything. I mean, everyone knows how gorgeous California is. So there you are growing up. I know you and I have had conversations about your dad and what he has accomplished in his life. Do you ever feel as an adult looking at his success, how everything has to like measure up to what he was able to do at a certain point in his life?
Yeah, absolutely. And those are, big shoes to fill and a tremendous amount of success to follow up. And at some point, you kind of have to, be your own person and realize you have your own goals and measures of success. But yeah, sometimes it is a little daunting. And wow, how am I ever going to top that? Because don't we all want to top the one that came before us? But on the other hand, I've been on the receiving end of a lot of benefits of his success and his advice and leadership over the years. And I, very much am who I am today because of what he did.
What was his narrative? What were the words that he said while the pandemic was in full swing and you were suffering with your business, laying folks off?
During that time, which was obviously, like you mentioned, a dark time, very rough, he and I talked on the phone every day. And on the one hand, he was saying, my God, man, I've never seen anything like this in my life. This is completely unique. I kind of don't know what to tell you. Ride it out. But it was also a lot of encouragement of, you're doing the right things and you're cutting your costs to match the current conditions and doing everything you can and persevere. Keep your head down, keep working. And my belief and his belief as we were talking about this stuff is if we could weather this storm, we'd be unstoppable after that. Because if you can make it through what we made it through in 2020, other challenges don't seem as daunting anymore.
Yeah, I mean that right there. It can be difficult when it feels permanent, but it's important to remember that nothing is permanent.
Yes.
It's a cliche that what's the cliche? That the only constant is change.
Yeah.
Which is true, but it's easier said than done. You get a cancer diagnosis and you go, no, this is permanent, right? This is, like I may go into remission, but this is always a thing that's weighing over my head. I mean, the struggle is real. There's no question about it. And I think a lot of people suffer in silence. When we meet folks, we want to put on this face that everything's fine, or it's just rude to like go into your drama right away. And we can kind of get stuck into that mode. How do you keep your head up? Do you stay positive, or do you think that positivity is sometimes just lying to yourself?
I think it's important to stay positive and to find silver linings, such as if we make it through this storm, we can weather anything. That is a silver lining. And, and getting through that stuff is looking ahead. And you're right, realizing that it's not permanent. And, even the darkest times through the pandemic and when things were most uncertain in 2020, it was definitely looking ahead and realizing this will change. We will come out of this. This is not the way the world is going to be forever. And particularly in my business, people being in their homes a lot, they're putting a lot more wear and tear on them. They're screwing up DIY projects they thought they could get done on their own. And when things do turn around and the world opens back up and people are more comfortable with craftsmen coming into their homes, there's going to be a lot of work for us. And so, yeah, keep your head down and keep working. And I think, humans endured because we were great endurance athletes, right? We could run down that injured antelope for long distances. We can endure hardship for a long time. So keep your head down, keep pushing, keep working. It will get better.
But you're supposed to be a spoiled California boy. So,
well, yeah, I am.
So you're not supposed to have endurance. You're supposed to buckle.
Well, come back to my father, man. I had contracts, business style contracts with my father from the time I was about 7 years old, which was, if you want these nice things, then you have to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And if you do that, you get what you wanted. If you don't do that, you don't get it. And so I was a spoiled kid, and I had everything I wanted. And my first car was quite nice. And, I had all these things, but I worked for them. And if I didn't accomplish the goals, I didn't get the rewards. So, and I did a lot of manual labor, and I rebuilt the deck on the house. I sanded and painted another deck, and I moved 7 tons of bark around a giant backyard and spread it out and did landscaping and kept my grades up. When they slipped, that nice car went away. Grades came back up, got the car back. So I was instilled with a strong work ethic.
Caroline Welsh in chat writes, absolutely, Brad. I keep looking around my house and finding projects I need help with. So, Brad, I know that you do work in the Carolinas, so you can swing by and help Caroline with that. Esther Sass writes, Brad and his team work their tails off. Best value for the money, and you can trust them. These things are all true. Shout out to Caroline and Esther in chat. If you want to join chat, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's where we are, right here on YouTube. What do you think about those comments? Yeah,
Esther's an amazing person, a good friend, and a real big cheerleader for our business. And that's our goal, is to create that relationship with our customers and to be trustworthy and accountable and do great work, so that that people end up having nice things to say about us, like the lovely Esther Sass.
That's right, Sass Insurance. Get a quote. In a former life, I was actually Esther Sass's grandmother.
Really? That's so interesting. And,
yeah, I can prove it. I can prove that. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the evidence, but I can prove it. So, all right. There was trauma in your childhood. Everyone has trauma of some sort. There were obstacles you had to overcome as a kid. I think sometimes when we look at privilege, whether it's skin color or economic privilege, or you have a high IQ, genetic privilege, whatever that happens to be, it's easy to look at that and say, well, you don't get to complain. Right, you don't get to complain. Look, you had all these amazing things, ergo, we don't want to hear from you. So growing up, was it just cookies and cream, white picket fence, everything's groovy all the time? Or, what were some of the hardships you had to overcome, despite the fact that a lot of things were in your favor?
A lot of it was cookies and cream. I'm a very fortunate person. My parents are both very strong, excellent people. They were wonderful parents and provided a great life for me. There was not a lot. We had a lot of success, and there was a lot of love and support. And you know what? I think that's why I created challenges for myself. I started racing mountain bikes when I was a teenager, and I remember being in the grocery store and looking at a magazine aisle and seeing a mountain bike magazine, flipping through it and going, that looks crazy. I want to do that. And so I started to get into the sport and started racing downhill. And I needed more challenge in my life and created it. And I went to my folks and I said, this is what I want to do. And this is what it's going to take. And here's a plan. And they're like, cool. Now, we'll support you on that, but you got to keep your grades up. You got to get this done. You got to do these things to do that. So yeah, I created challenges and put myself in some dangerous situations to meet those challenges.
Interesting. Well, it's not easy to keep your grades up either. There's some challenge there. There's some challenges. Esther says, Brad and his team will exceed your expectations. Thank God I don't look like my grandmother.
Esther.
I was your grandmother in a previous life, Esther says. You used to call me Nana. Now it's getting weird. So all right. So there you have it. Cookies and cream. Things are groovy. You get into high school. You're very popular. You're a super popular guy. Everybody loves a Brad Hess.
No.
No,
I wouldn't say I was super popular. I definitely wasn't like the homecoming king or anything like that. Kind of more so kept to my weird little group of friends. And, when you're obsessed with things like mountain biking, which is not the popular sport, and you come to school with weird tan lines from your gloves and pads and helmet, uh, you get funny looks. So I had a good time in high school, but yeah, I certainly wasn't king of the school.
Okay. Shout out to Shalee Wanders. Check out ShaleeWanders.com in chat. She writes, experiences outside our comfort zones are sometimes the best lessons. I need to try mountain biking. Now, here's the thing, Shalee, about mountain biking. You can break your face. Just a heads up. Brad, have you ever broken your face mountain biking, taking a spill?
I have not. I tend to wear a full face helmet when the going gets a little bit rough. But yeah, it's quite a potentially dangerous sport, and like a lot of things, there are different levels of it too. You can start at a beginner trail, or you can take a double black diamond with some really dangerous features on it. But yeah, it's a dangerous sport. That's part of the fun. I enjoy an adrenaline rush.
Okay, so here's my issue with mountain biking. I don't like going up. So do you just drive up the trail and then you just go down it and then you just drive? Like, how do you do that?
You can. There are some trails that I really enjoy we do what's called shuttling. So we'll have multiple vehicles and we'll load everybody up in one pickup truck and leave other vehicles at the bottom of the trail. And you can drive a road to the top of the trail and ride down and then go pick up the other vehicle later. Or you can see at the many ski resorts open up in the summertime to mountain biking and have lots of trails, some of which you can pedal up and go down. But you can also, hang your bike off the back of the ski lift and ride to the top and take the trails down.
Okay. What is the correlation between mountain biking and your business?
Looking ahead. In order to go fast, whether you're on a mountain bike or in a race car, you need to look farther ahead down the trail or down the track than what you're currently navigating. You need to know what's coming farther ahead so that you can make adjustments for it. Because if you're looking right in front of you, right in the very near future, it's too late to make adjustments. So you need to look ahead to see the terrain that's coming, make the adjustments so that when it comes at you, you're already ready for it. So that's the correlation to the business, because if you're not looking ahead, you're not going to see the challenges that are going to present themselves and you won't be ready for them.
What happens if, what's the business correlation to taking like a huge dive and like breaking your ribs?
COVID. Yeah, that shutdown broke our ribs. That's for sure.
Yeah. So you just got to mend. And did you end up hiring back some of these guys that you lost? Guys and girls?
Most importantly, our office manager, Leah. It broke my heart, but I did have to lay her off as part of that. But luckily, she was willing to wait and stuck around, and she came back, as well as some of our craftsmen. Some of them moved on to other things, and we hired other people instead. But yeah, some folks came back, and I'm lucky for it.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so San Jose High School, you got a group of, your words, weird friends. And you graduate, decent grades, I assume, 3.5, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Decent enough. School held my attention enough to get the good grades, but my attention wandered to the world of skiing and mountain biking and adventure sports.
Yeah, that definitely is your vibe for sure. I don't know if y'all knew this, but Brad Hess, in addition to being a national treasure, it's true because it's on the thumbnail, is also a Guinness World Record previous holder, right? The record was broken, but at one point broke a Guinness World Record for most consecutive, and I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm going to take a stab at it. Front flips?
Front flips, correct.
In a air chamber.
Wind tunnel.
Air chamber wind tunnel. You know what? I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for getting close. Tell the folks about this whatever this is.
So I worked at the indoor skydiving facility here in Las Vegas. Worked there for 13 years. Started out as a college job, and I worked my way up to general manager. It was a huge passion. The sport itself, the business, the people that worked there. It was integral to my life and very important to my development as a person. But the sport itself, I was very passionate about, and I really enjoyed getting better at and putting together routines. And one of the things that I was very good at, because of my height and how lanky I am, was doing consecutive front flips. And we were in there for a group session one day, and we got out. One of the guys that I was in there flying with said, "You're great at front flips. You should set a world record." And I said, "I'm going to look into that." And I did. And there was an existing Guinness World Record for the most number of forward somersaults in a wind tunnel in 60 seconds. And that record was set at 35. And I said, I can beat that. And so I trained for months, and every day I would go in early and practice, which a huge amount of that was building up dizzy tolerance so that I could continue to stay in the wind and not fall out and not falter because I was dizzy. Practice, put together all the camera angles and photographer and witnesses and everything that I needed to prove to Guinness that I actually did it. And I ended up doing 53. Sent off all that info to Guinness. And about a month later, I got an email saying, "You're officially amazing." And they sent me the plaque in the mail. And it was a really fun, interesting accomplishment.
Having broken a world record is probably on quite a few bucket lists. I don't know how many people actually manage it. And I do Taekwondo, and I spin 2 or 3 times, and I want to vomit projectile style in every possible direction pretty much instantly. I want to lay down. I'm very tired. Please leave me alone. I don't feel good. And that's just 2 or 3 rotations. So as we get older, I don't know what happens, but Lord above, the dizzy tolerance just isn't there. How old were you when you set the record?
I think I was 33.
That's crazy.
And that dizzy tolerance, that was a huge part of the training. It took a long time to get to that point. And like I said, daily exposure to it. And it's definitely something that goes away. If I get back in there now, I get dizzy after 2 or 3. And after 60 seconds of somersaulting, the only thing I can do is go boom, fall off the wind and lay down and catch my breath and wait for the dizzy to go away before I can stand up, because it's that intense.
Okay. So here I am, like a total noob, thinking that once you've built up the tolerance to that point, it's sort of, you're fine. You do 60 seconds and, no, you're still suffering.
It's not, I wouldn't use the word suffering, but it is still a challenge. Yeah.
How is that not so? I hate the feeling of it's the nausea in my stomach makes me absolutely just, I'm like, why, God? Why is this even a thing? So explain that to me. Did you not get incredibly nauseous? Was there nothing there?
I'm fortunate, and that's probably why I was able to do this, is that dizziness doesn't give me motion sickness. I've never had a problem with motion sickness. So yeah, it was just the equilibrium. It was just the dizzy part. And being out of breath. I mean, doing somersaults for 60 seconds straight is like sprinting uphill for 60 seconds. It was completely exhausting. I really just had to fall off and lay down.
Does one develop a 6-pack when one breaks a Guinness World Record for that? Because it feels like an ab thing.
It was a full body thing. I was also doing like a lot of cardio and plyometrics on the side to help to make sure that my body in general was in good shape for it. It wasn't just core. It's a full body thing. So
yeah, I'll just take your word for it. Yeah, I mean, if you felt how I feel when I get dizzy, there's no way you'd have been like, not today, not ever. I'm never gonna go. Yeah, okay. Well, that is fascinating. So there's a little gap in the life story here that I do want to cover. So graduate high school, always into mountain biking, always into snowboarding. You got like a kind of extreme sports vibe to you. Did that extend through to the college years?
In the college years, I kind of took a break from it and got more into music. And I was living with some friends. I had moved from San Jose to Las Vegas to go to UNLV, and thought I was going to be a rock star and was playing in bands, and kind of took a little bit of break from mountain biking and skiing. That's also the time that I started working at the indoor skydiving facility. So I had, a bit of it in my life, but I also thought I was going to be a rock star for a little while there.
Is this because you started smoking the devil's cabbage?
That might have had something to do with it.
Right. When one smokes too much of the devil's lettuce, then one's motivation tends to focus perhaps more on the six strings and not on the mountain biking. But I know some potheads that go out there and do that sort of thing. I'm sure there's just a ton of potheads that are all about like mountain biking and getting out into nature and doing that.
Yeah. A lot of skiers and snowboarders like to drink and smoke while they're participating. I, however, don't. I want to be sharp as a tack. I don't want to ever find myself looking down a steep run and going, I'm a little too, wasted to take this on. I want to be sharp.
Yeah, I could see the weed being one thing. I think that the drinking is another. Wheels and alcohol are never a good combination. I think the stoner would just be going oddly slow.
Yeah.
So anyway, Shali Wander is coming at us with a comment. He needs to come to Wyoming to snowboard. I don't know if y'all knew this. ShaliWanders.com is where you should swing by to see the epic journeys that Shali Super has taken around the world. She's a mountain climber. Also happens to be a member of the Send It Rising team. Shali Wanders currently lives in Cody, Wyoming, where she takes a selfie with why is his name escaping me? Who lives in Cody, Wyoming? Kanye. She takes a selfie with Kanye every day.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shirley, I'll definitely look you up. Wyoming is high on my list, and I would absolutely love to ski there and explore.
Caroline Welsh writes, Kane. Yeah, Kanye. Got it. Kanye West, good times. All right, we have approximately 3 minutes remaining on the show for today. I want to give Brad an opportunity to pitch to let the fine folks in the Vegas area know why they should hire his particular company to come on down. Brad, let us know why we should pay you.
Well, Ace Handyman Services, we are licensed by the Nevada State Contractors Board, which means we're held to a really high standard as far as our quality of work and our business practices. So a lot of times in the handyman industry, the one-man show can give us a bad name by not showing up or doing crappy work or taking the money and running. All that stuff is against my ethos and against the law for me, since we're a licensed contractor. So the whole purpose is to be accountable and up to board. We can handle a wide range of tasks. We've got 8 craftsmen and craftswomen on our team, and some of which specialize in certain things or a broad range of things. So we can handle quite a bit, large and small. And our office team is stellar. Shay and Leah are excellent with customer service. We return calls if we happen to miss them because we're on the other line, and we're always here to answer questions. And, if you call us with something that's outside of our scope, we just can't handle it, we know somebody who can. We're going to point you in the right direction and give you all the advice that we can, even if you're not going to pay us to do it. Nice unicorn.
Oh, yeah. You don't even understand. People are listening to us on the podcast. We are now joined by our special guest. She likes to make one appearance per show, typically towards the end. Annika, you want to say hi to Brad?
Hi, Brad.
We're also live in chat. We got Esther, Shali, and Caroline. Want to say hi to them too?
Hi.
Did you know that Brad won? He had a Guinness World Record that he broke for most consecutive front flips in a wind tunnel.
No.
True.
Yeah, so he just did like front flips in this wind tunnel.
Oh, man.
And there's Mike.
Oh my gosh, look at his kiddos.
Oh, are those your sons?
Those are my sons, Kai and Luke.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah.
All right, we're going to ask one question for Brad, and then we got to wrap up the show. Okay, kiddo? What's your one question?
How many front flips did you do in that air tube?
53.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I was very dizzy.
He got so dizzy.
Did you fall to the floor?
Did you fall to the floor?
After the amount of time, after 60 seconds, yes, I fell to the floor and I couldn't get up for more than a minute.
Esther writes, every life needs a beautiful unicorn. Okay, all right, we're going to say goodbye to all our friends listening on the show. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Goodbye.
Do you have any special message for them? No special message from Monica tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, marketing as a foreign language, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single Monday through Friday. Shout out to Esther, Shalee, and Caroline in chat, and of course, the incredible Brad Hess. If you want to join us for the live show again, 10:30 on YouTube, just search youtube.com/Send It Rising. If you're listening to us after the fact on iTunes or Spotify, we love you too. And that is the show for today. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.